We are going to start another scholar, that is David Hume, 1711 and 1776. Scottish philosopher, historian, economist, and essayist. He is known for his highly influential system of philosophical empiricism, skepticism, and naturalism. As I told you earlier, the definition of empiricism, I also told you about John Locke, the father of empiricism. So David Hume is another philosopher, British philosopher, historian, and economist and essayist. And we are going to read his essay, that is of standard of the taste. So there are three terms written over here. Empiricism, as you know that all knowledge comes through experience, or knowledge is ultimately founded on experience and sense perception. I told you earlier about empiricism and how they are against, or they are anti or anti new Platonism, or Platonism, in the sense that the ideas of Platonic world. So skepticism, doubt about the truth of something. As we know that David Hume, basically in that particular essay I'm going to describe before you, he does not want to take one view, because as we know that he takes both the views. So to some extent we say he has got doubt about the truth of something. Whenever you can't choose one way, and you say and you compare the two ways, and you don't want to take one, it means that you uh, are suffering from, and you have got doubt about the truth of the selection. That is called skepticism. It means you escape and you don't want to choose one thing. Another term, that is naturalism, the doctrine that the world can be understood in scientific terms and without research to uh, spiritual and supernaturalism. As we know that it's a practical sort of philosophy, because they believe in science and naturalism, because scientific terms may explore the word, scientific terms may explore your view, your idea. Now, these three things, these three terms are very much dominant in the philosophy of David Hume. So I don't want to go in the detail of his birth, or you can say that autobiographical element, because we have to discuss his philosophy. We are going to study his essay, that is of the standard of the taste, or taste, you can say. Now, in this essay, how he talks, what he is talking about. His position is skeptical. Now, as we know that before the start of this, what should be the standard of the test? How we judge beauty, art, literature, what should be the standard? As you heard, the ideas of Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde has got aesthetic sense of things. So he appreciates beauty, and he thinks that beauty does not communicate moral sense, because moral sense is related with society, and society's scope is limited. So we enjoy beauty, we look at beauty, and we give full expression to our feelings in order to enjoy life. So he has got his own point of view, and Plotinus, basically, he has got his own point of view. Now, David Hume, basically, he is, you can say that his philosophy is scientific, practical, and based on impressionism. So, beauty with sentiment caused by the object. When you look at something that is beautiful, you look and you look at the object, and you basically have got opinion about that thing. Okay, sentiments means thinking, having opinion. The basically, where does this sentiment exist? According to David Hume, this sentiment exists in mind. And no response to work is superior to another. There is no wrong response to work of another. It does mean that David Hume is of the opinion that whenever you look at the thing, when you observe the thing, when you think about that thing, when you look at something that is beautiful, you have opinion about that. And your opinion should be based on the sentiment you have. As in order to make it clear in the sense that he is trying to say that man contemplates beauty. As in other words, you can say like Shakespeare, like Wordsworth. Wordsworth says, beauty lies in the eye of beholder. Now it means that something that is looking beautiful to you, something that is handsome for you, it means that you have got sentiment, you have got contemplation, and that is very much there in your eye, otherwise not. So beauty lies in the eye of beholder in the sense that you contemplate beauty. You have got sense of beauty, you have got standard of beauty, you have got sentiment of the beauty. So the same thing he is talking about. Now it is in the sense that suppose we look at the object looks, appears beautiful to us. So it means that beauty lies in the eye of beholder, or beauty lies in our eye, or in our mind, in our image, in our vision. But we should not ignore the systematic arrangement of that thing. That thing appears beautiful to you in the sense that there is something in that object. It is not only that beauty lies in our eyes, and that thing looks to us beautiful, but you can say that that thing is really beautiful because it may have got certain characteristics, certain aspects. So because of those aspects, because of those characteristics, we like that thing. Yes, that thing is very much there. So it means that there is connection between an eye and the object of that thing. So we contemplate that thing with the help of our eyesight, with the help of our observation. We contemplate that thing, and that thing basically appears to us beautiful. Okay, we go further and forward. These things of the standard of test, he's talking importance of common sense. Now, as we know that when you say to someone that you have seen a beautiful thing or this thing is beautiful, it depends on the common sense you have. Now, as we know that common sense is general, common sense is universal. So you should not say that, suppose something that is ugly and you say that, no, this is beautiful. But whenever you say that something is beautiful, in the sense that there is a general idea about that beauty, there is a general response to the people. Now it means you call someone calls some ugly thing beautiful, the people may laugh at you, because you can say that there is no general contemplation of the beauty, because a general rule is there. And this common sense is basically the general rule, because it depends upon your common sense. Evaluate responses are neither true nor false, yet some are better than others. So it means that when we evaluate something, when we have response to something, he's trying to say that they are neither true or nor false, but to some extent, uh, the response, the sentiment is superior, is better than others. So it means that there is uh, uh, the things are not at the same position, at the same footing. So some responses are far better than other responses. As we know that some people, when they look at the rose, when they look at the bird, they look and stare it continuously. And some people look at the birds, look at the roses, look at the flowers. What happens? Immediately they turn to another thing, and some people stare at them and imagine their beauty, and they become very happy inside, because they have got their aesthetic sense. So aesthetic sense of those people is very strong. So Hume regards approbation and disapprobation as sentiment, emotional responses. Now, approbation and disapprobation. Now, in the sense that you like something, you dislike something. Now, Hume says that it depends upon your sentiment. It depends upon your emotional response. It means when you look at the thing that is beautiful, you have got natural response, and you have got sense of wonder. You look at something beautiful and you say, wow, look at this, this is beautiful. Now this is basically your sentiment. So this sentiment depends on the response, and people have got different various responses. People have got different sentiments and different responses, but few responses are far better than others. He is trying to say that. So there is a common sense, and common sense depends on the general idea. So it's a defense of common sense. There is a standard by which we can confirm one sentiment and condemn another. Now, if we try to look at the thing that is beautiful, there is a general idea that what the beauty should be of that thing. What is the general idea of the beauty? Now we come to lit we come to literature. In literature, what happens? We see that the work of Shakespeare, the work of John Milton, the work of Robert Browning, the work of Alfred Lord Tennyson, Shelley, the work of you can choose any work, and you say that this work is a good one, and this because your response is the good one, and you say that. So if you say that this thing or this piece of literature or this genre of literature is good one, it means that in your mind, there is a common sense and there is certain standard. Or keeping in view that standard, you are trying to say that this work is good one. So take example of Shakespeare. Shakespeare's work is far better than many writers. Why? Because there are certain standards. Keeping in view those standards, we evaluate the work of Shakespeare. So we say that Shakespeare deserve appreciation because he comes up to his work comes up to the expectation of certain standards we have set. And yes, it depends on common sense. So all sentiment is right. Now he is trying to say that all sentiment is right in the sense that there are different responses, there are different sentiments to one thing, to one thing, to one object. So naturally, you have got common sense when everyone, when all people, suppose they look at rose, they become very happy. So I don't think so. There is one person who becomes sad while looking at the rose. If he becomes sad while looking at the rose, it means that his sentiment is not right, and his sentiment is not based on common sense. So it may be so that some people, while looking at the rose, they become sad, and then they think that okay, the rose creates problem for them, and they don't appreciate the beauty of the rose. But all people, all responses appreciate the beauty of rose in the sense that because there is a common sense, and it depends on the general rule. Okay, we go forward. The core idea of his theory of moral and aesthetic value is that they are based on sentiment rather than judgment. Now, this is very important because he's trying to say that you, yes, he's trying to say that people judge beauty. People judge the beauty of an object. The people judge something, but the sentiment is more important than judgment. So it doesn't mean that you pass judgment. Though you have common sense, you judge certain things, but there is a criteria of judgment, but sentiment is very important. Again, you have got aesthetic sense of beauty because of your sentiment. It's not because of your judgment. Okay, you judge beauty, you have got certain standard, but your sentiment is very important because you enjoy and you have got pleasure of the getting the contemplation of that thing, and then you can say that with the help of your observation and sentiment, you enjoy that the beauty of that thing. Thus, taste is a feeling, and feeling of pleasure present to something. So, uh, like Oscar Wilde, he also talks about pleasure. Beauty provides you entertainment. Beauty provides you pleasure. Something that is beautiful, that is wonderful, something you appreciate, and something that provides you pleasure. So you get pleasure out of beauty. Yes, there are certain standards, there are certain rules for the identification of beauty. Okay, when you say that this marble, this sapphire, this ruby, this diamond is beautiful, because there are certain rules and certain standards for ruby, for sapphire, for diamond, or whatever beautiful thing might be there in the world. So some work attain critical approval over culture and time. For example, Homer and Cicero. I told you about Shakespeare. Shakespeare's work is being appreciated by all the people. Why? Because it has got many qualities. It has got certain standard, and it comes to the work come up to the expectation of that. So why do people appreciate the work of Homer? Because the work of Homer is wonderful, and Cicero as well. So there are great philosophers and scholars and poets in the sense. So Homer is still read. So since centuries, people have been reading Homer and Cicero as well. As you know that whenever you go through the quotations and when you go through the work of these two writers, so there is a international acclaim. There is international appreciation. So the people appreciate their work in the sense that they uh, uh, their work meets certain standard, and though these standards are well recognized, so these standards are based on common sense, and there are certain rules. An examination of these work of genius should provide us with the rules of composition for a good art. Yes, there are certain rules for the for producing work of great art. So keeping in view that we appreciate their work, and their work basically is spread uh, throughout the centuries. So you can say that their work is not seasonal one, that their logic or their art and appreciation come to an end. Now, another point is an identification of standard with the rule. The rules are only general observation via experience. Uniformity of response provides some measure of objectivity. Yes, when we talk about general rules, we can say that general rules are based on neutrality. They are, and it is based on observation and experience as well. So there is uniformity. Uniformity in the sense that all people, basically all scholars agree on one point. Taste is mediated by reflection, what is sensed. Now, as we know that he's a impressist, and his the senses are very important. Perception is very important. So taste is mediated by reflection. Now, it means that whenever you look at something beautiful, yes, there is a reflection, and reflection is good one, and it will give you a pleasure, and because of senses. I told you earlier, whenever you enjoy something, whenever you just living your life, you have got five senses, and you enjoy those five sense of touch, sense of eyesight, and sense of smell, and you see five senses are there. And because of intensive use of these five senses, your sixth sense, that is sense of vision, that is based on imagination, that will become a strong one. Beauty and deformity are not qualities in objects, but belong entirely to the sentiment, internal or external. Again, this is very important. He is saying that when an object is there, so one response is one person says this is beautiful, another person finds deformity in it, another person says that now this is a weakness of this object, and you can say that there is no beauty as such. So he is saying that the object does not have beauty or deformity. A beauty deformity present in the eye of the person, in the contemplation of the person. So it may be possible that something that is beautiful to one person may be not beautiful to another person, in the sense that because of that sentiment, internal or external. There are certain qualities in objects which are fitted by nature to produce these particular feelings. So as I told you, yes, whenever you see something beautiful, whenever you have certain things, the things are beautiful. Yes, you have got response, and you can contemplate and you can appreciate them. But in the sense that these objects basically have got beauty in them as well. So it does not depend on your contemplation only, because there are certain qualities nature has shaped those things, keeping in view their systematic arrangement, keeping in view their you shape, their structure, or you can say that while making all these things, so there is something beautiful in it, there is something attractive in it, so that your eye or mind might contemplate it. Yes. Another thing is the best critic. Now, it means whatever you see, you have got response, you have got contemplation, you enjoy beauty, but you are critic of that thing. So what should be, how you how you be critic of certain objects, certain things, or certain work of an art. Now, what should be your role when you pass judgment? What should be your role when you interpret literature? What your role should be when you explain something, when you interpret something? So naturally, you should be neutral and you should have common sense, and you keep the standards of rules in your mind to criticize something or to point out and highlight certain things. So natural difference and moral outlook. Now there is a connection between natural difference and moral outlook. So when there is a difference, you should keep in view the natural difference and moral, your moral outlook at the same time. So your moral outlook should be good one. So that should not be faulty one. If you are your morality is a faulty one, so it means that there is a, you can't decide and you can't judge certain things. Person's age and cultural difference. So uh, for children, for kids, for a child, so something that is beautiful, it may not appear beautiful to us. So the chocolates, swings, and you see all these things are beautiful to children, but we don't take interest in them. We don't take in interest in chocolates and swings and all these things. You may say that we are not fond of going to zoo, but children basically they have. So it depends upon your age also. It depends upon your maturity level, sensibility also, and it depends upon your cultural preference also. So you can say when you pass judgment and whenever you have got whenever you are interpreting certain thing. So I can give you the example of camel. Camel is the most beautiful animal for Arabs. So it may be so that we don't like camel. So we may like horse and we may like another animal, but camel is the most beautiful uh, animal. So it is because this thing, the standard of the taste, the contemplation is connected with the culture of those people. Therefore, camel is beautiful to them. So, acha, critical moral outlook. Now, you must have critical moral outlook if you want to judge past judgment. Whenever you are critic in the position of critic. Now, Home here advocates moderate moralism. It doesn't mean that you have tough rules regarding morality. So there must be flexibility out of you. You must be moderate one. You must have a mediocre. You see that in between. You must not be so harsh one. You must not be hard one. And you must not be so soft. So moderate course of moralism is there if you are critic, if you try to interpret certain thing. He says that bigotry and flaws that detract moral and works and works aesthetic merit. So bigotry, you are conservative, you are narrow-minded, you have got flaws. So that thing will detract you your moral and aesthetic merit. So it means that you must be broad-minded. You must have a good observation. Your outlook should be broad one, and you should not be conservative. If you are conservative, it means that you will not judge thing in a right manner. You should be neutral one. You should not be prejudiced, or you must not suffer from malevolence of any kind. जैसे कीना होता है. Proper evaluation is guided by our sense of natural boundaries of vice and virtue. This is there is a certain standard. We don't know this is wise or this is